Per-cooling or cooling during sessions is a really good strategy. And here's why it works. First of all, thermal strain does not always manifest as immediate discomfort. There's often a delay. It starts building, and it's not until it's exceeded past a threshold where you start to identify the symptoms and the performance degradation. So proactively cooling, even before those symptoms or those degradations manifest, help to keep the heat accumulation at bay and stay in the optimal performance temperature zone as long as possible. So some of these benefits are flattening the curve, the core temperature trajectory, so keeping it lower, not allowing it to spike up really fast. This can help with lowering RPE, improves just overall psychological, perceptual readiness, keeping your neuromuscular activation in peak levels, and as well as your cognitive capabilities in peak levels throughout the entire workout, or at least as long as possible. Some timing to consider for cooling intervals. So after really high intensity blocks or training, so sprints, compound lifts, very, very metabolically demanding. If there are longer sessions planned, especially if they're more cardio based, having breaks midway through, this is something that we see more frequently in sports such as soccer, during half times, breaks like that, but you can implement that into training protocols. And then just actively including into planned programmed rest periods, whether that's a water break, whether that's a break or an opportunity to change, even just equipment and move around. Those are good opportunities to implement cooling on the side. Generally, guidelines every 10 to 15 minutes in moderate heat when possible, in extreme heat as frequently as possible. That is going to depend a little bit on the intensity and the type of activity, but really every opportunity that you can implement some form of cooling is going to be helpful. Tools that can help with this include palm cooling devices, and we're going to talk about palm cooling in modules 8 and 9. Easy, you can take them, they're portable, on demand, you can target specific areas and just dump heat out as fast as possible. Cold towels and ice dabs can be used as well, and they are frequently used. There is a caution, though, applying ice towels or cold towels to the neck. There's a large perceptual effect, but there's very little effect on actual core temperature. The skin's not optimized for heat transfer in the back of the neck, and it can be misleading in terms of how athletes feel versus what the effect of temperature actually is. Fans, misting bottles, these are good to help with convective heat transfer and evaporative heat transfer, especially if you're in dry environments or lack that ability. And then wherever possible, this is potentially a limitation for a lot of scenarios, but shaded, ventilated recovery zones, everything you can to just create the environment that is optimal for heat dissipation. So the basics are embed cooling and rest intervals as active recovery. So make it part of the program, have cooling stations, opportunities set up for athletes, use it as a tool and communicate, educate the importance, and really help athletes make sure that they learn intuitively as well as through their education to prioritize cooling and make that part of their training.